Something strange is happening. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. Beaches, once teeming with crabs, fell silent. The familiar scuttling of thousands of tiny legs was no more. Fishermen, casting their nets, pulled up empty traps. Their livelihoods, dependent on these creatures, were suddenly in jeopardy. The oceans, it seemed, had swallowed their armored inhabitants whole. The vast blue expanse was now a silent void. At first it was a mystery, a perplexing enigma that left even the brightest minds baffled. Scientists scratched their heads, puzzled. They pored over data, seeking answers in the numbers and charts. Coastal communities whispered of ancient curses and whispered legends. Stories of old, passed down through generations, resurfaced. The disappearance was global, affecting every corner of the planet. No coastline was spared from this eerie phenomenon. The seas, once brimming with these crustaceans, were eerily quiet. The absence of life was palpable. Then, as quickly as they vanished, the crabs offered a clue, a sign that hinted at their mysterious disappearance. Empty shells, discarded exoskeletons, began washing ashore. These remnants told a story of transformation. The beaches, once bare, were now littered with these ghostly reminders, a haunting testament to the crab's recent activity. The molting season had arrived, but on a scale never before witnessed. It was an unprecedented event in the natural world. This was no ordinary molt. It was a mass shedding, a synchronized event that defied explanation. This was something far more significant, something that sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned marine biologists. They knew they were witnessing something extraordinary. The oceans held their breath, bracing for the unknown. What would come next was anyone's guess. To understand the ocean's unease, we must first understand the crabs themselves. These creatures, encased in rigid exoskeletons, are prisoners of their own armor. To grow, they must shed their shells in a process as perilous as it is fascinating. Imagine the pressure. Imagine being confined within your own bones, unable to expand. This is the reality for a crab. So, they molt. They split their shells, painstakingly extracting themselves from their former selves. It's a vulnerable time, a race against time to harden their new, larger exoskeletons. This molting process is triggered by hormones, a complex dance of chemicals responding to internal and external cues. The size of a crab's new shell is determined during this time, influenced by available resources and environmental factors. Little did we know, these factors were about to change drastically. A freshly molted crab is a soft, vulnerable creature. Its new shell, still pliable, offers little protection from predators. During this time, they seek refuge, hiding in crevices, burying themselves in sand, anything to avoid becoming an easy meal. This period of vulnerability is a testament to nature's delicate balance. Predators rely on this cycle, keeping crab populations in check. The oceans teem with creatures eager to capitalize on this opportunity, from fish and sharks to larger crabs, even their own kind. But this time, something was different. The sheer number of molting crabs meant traditional hiding spots weren't enough. The ocean floor was a buffet waiting to be devoured. And yet, the predators remained strangely absent, perhaps sensing the shift in the balance of power. This would prove to be a grave miscalculation. For 6 long months, the oceans remained eerily quiet. The beaches, once littered with molting shells, were bare once more. The whispers turned to uneasy silence. Humanity, in its insatiable curiosity, sent probes, submarines, anything to pierce the veil of the deep. What they found was both exhilarating and terrifying. Giant crab claws, some larger than cars, were spotted fleetingly. Sonar readings revealed massive, unidentified objects moving in the depths. The oceans, once a source of wonder, were now a breeding ground for something monstrous. The world held its breath. Scientists scrambled, trying to understand the implications. What had caused this unprecedented growth spurt? What would happen when these behemoths finally emerged? The answers, when they came, would forever alter our relationship with the sea. It began slowly. Fishing boats reported their nets being torn to shreds by creatures of unimaginable strength. Massive shadows, cast by the rising sun, sent shivers down the spines of beachgoers. The giants were stirring. Then, they rose. Giant crabs, their shells gleaming in the sunlight, emerged from the depths. Some were the size of bears, others dwarfing even the largest whales. Their claws, capable of crushing steel, snapped at the air, a terrifying display of power. The oceans, once a source of life, were now a battleground. These titans clashed with each other, vying for dominance. Whales, once rulers of the deep, fled in terror. Sharks, their teeth no match for the crab's impenetrable armor, learned to avoid these new apex predators. The balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Section 6. Feast or Famine, Ecosystems in Upheaval. The emergence of giant crabs sent shockwaves through marine ecosystems. Their insatiable appetites decimated fish populations. Coral reefs, once vibrant ecosystems, were crushed under the weight of their shells. But this ecological chaos wasn't entirely negative. The carcasses of their prey, once consumed, provided a feast for scavengers. New species of fish, adapted to live amongst the giant crabs, evolved. The oceans, though forever changed, found a new equilibrium. This new balance, however, was precarious. The sheer size of the crabs meant their impact on the environment was amplified. Their movements stirred up sediment, affecting water clarity and marine plant life. Their waste, colossal in its own right, altered the chemical composition of the oceans. Section 7. Humanity Adrift, Facing the Consequences. For humans, the rise of the giant crabs was a catastrophe. Fishing industries collapsed overnight. The once bustling docks, filled with the sounds of fishermen and traders, fell silent. The economic impact was immediate and devastating, leaving thousands without livelihoods. Coastal communities, once thriving hubs of commerce and tourism, became ghost towns. The vibrant life that once characterized these areas vanished, replaced by eerie silence and decay. Hotels, restaurants, and shops shuttered their doors, unable to cope with the new reality. The oceans, once a source of sustenance and recreation, were now a no-man's land. But necessity breeds invention. People began to innovate, finding new ways to coexist with the giant crabs. The challenge was immense, but so was the human spirit. New technologies emerged, designed to combat and exploit these colossal crustaceans. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, developing tools and methods to turn the tide. The focus shifted from fear to opportunity, as humanity sought to harness the potential of these creatures. Harpoons, once used to hunt whales, were modified to pierce their thick shells. These adaptations were crucial for survival, allowing humans to defend themselves and harvest the crabs for resources. The ingenuity displayed was a testament to human resilience. Giant crab meat, surprisingly palatable, became a delicacy, fueling a new wave of culinary exploration. Chefs around the world experimented with recipes, turning the once feared creatures into gourmet dishes. This culinary revolution brought a sense of normalcy and even excitement to the troubled times. Humanity, ever adaptable, began to adjust. Communities came together, sharing knowledge and resources to rebuild their lives. The spirit of cooperation and innovation was stronger than ever, driving progress and fostering hope. Coastal cities were rebuilt, elevated on stilts or moved inland. These architectural marvels were designed to withstand the new challenges posed by the giant crabs. The transformation of the landscape was a symbol of human determination and ingenuity. New regulations were put in place, governing the hunting and harvesting of these creatures. Governments and scientists worked together to ensure a balance between exploitation and conservation, aiming for a sustainable coexistence. The relationship between humans and the sea had changed forever, defined by a mixture of fear and respect. The once carefree interaction with the ocean was now marked by caution and reverence, a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and nature. Section 8. A World Reshaped, Adapting to the Unthinkable. The emergence of giant crabs forced humanity to confront its place in the natural world. These colossal creatures, with their powerful claws and imposing presence, disrupted the delicate balance of marine ecosystems and human activities alike. It was a stark reminder that we are not masters of this planet, but merely tenants, sharing space with creatures far older and more powerful than ourselves. The world adapted. Scientists and researchers worked tirelessly to understand these new inhabitants, while communities along coastlines had to rethink their way of life. Shipping routes were redrawn to avoid areas with high crab activity. This led to longer journeys and increased costs, but it was a necessary step to ensure the safety of maritime operations. New forms of energy, less reliant on the oceans, were developed. Wind and solar power became more prominent, reducing our dependence on marine resources and minimizing the risk of further disruptions. The giant crabs, once harbingers of chaos, became a catalyst for change, forcing us to rethink our relationship with nature. Innovative technologies emerged, aimed at coexisting with these formidable creatures rather than battling against them. This adaptation, however, came at a cost. The marine environment suffered, with habitats destroyed and ecosystems disrupted. The once thriving underwater world now faced new challenges. The loss of marine life had a ripple effect throughout the food chain, impacting everything from seabirds to polar bears. The delicate balance of nature was thrown into disarray, with consequences that reached far beyond the oceans. The oceans, once a vast and mysterious realm, were now a constant reminder of our own vulnerability. As we gazed upon the reflective surface, we were reminded of the fragility of our existence and the need to adapt to the ever-changing world around us. Section 9. The future of giant crabs. A new equilibrium? The future remains uncertain. Will the giant crabs continue to grow, evolving into even more colossal forms? Will they eventually dominate the planet, relegating humanity to the sidelines? Or will a new equilibrium be reached, a delicate balance between these titans and the rest of the natural world? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the oceans, and indeed the planet, will never be the same. The age of the giant crabs has begun.